in 1, 2, 3.
Rockaway! Wow, you guys are good.
So here we are, folks. We are here with Ken from Camp Rockaway, and this is his baby, and he's going to be telling us all about it. We are definitely interested in what's going on here. This looks like a really neat place you got here. All right, I want to know about the name. How you came up with the name?
Oh, sure. Yeah, the name. I got a lot of help with the name because I had the concept. When I had seen the postcards of the tent colonies in Rockaway Beach from the turn of the century, they had, they had postcard type things on them, so that said like Tent City Rockaway or, something to that effect. And so we first started calling it, like, just as a working title, Tent City Rockaway, And ultimately it seems like the simplest thing ever, but like, we were trying to start a campground and it was in Rockaway, so Camp Rockaway was just like the most obvious thing. So that's what stuck. Rockaway's a peninsula. It's kind of like the beginning of Long Island, but the Rockaway chunk of that peninsula is in Queens, so one of the 5 boroughs. And yeah, we started in 2017 with a little pilot with the National Park Service. So the Schuylerville opportunity came about because of the New York State's Reimagine the Canals program. So that's a Governor Cuomo initiative to reimagine the canals, which are no longer so much like a working waterfront as they once were, but as more of a recreation destination and kind of corridor all throughout New York. It runs side by side with the Empire State Trail, which is now like fully connected from New York City all the way up to the top of New York and then all the way over to Buffalo. So hundreds of miles of recreation on the trail, and then that trail is following these waterways, the Erie, Champlain Canal, the whole system. I came and visited. I got to meet some of the local business owners here at a small business association meeting. Got to kind of scope out the town, got to scope out this location, the proximity to the lock, the fact that we're on the Hudson, less than a mile into the village, Hudson Crossing Park, literally right across the water there, over the bridge. It was a no-brainer. There's just so much to do. It's such a charming place. 20 minutes to Saratoga Springs, an hour to Albany. You can take the train. It just is. It just seemed like such a great spot. Right here, within a 3-4 minute walk, is the Mohawk Maiden and the Caldwell Bell. The Caldwell Bell is a big paddle wheel that does a tour. They'll bring you right through the lock. It's you probably feel like Mark Twain on that thing or something. It's like super cool. It'll bring you through the lock and sail down the river a little ways, turn around, come back. So that's an amazing way to see the river. They have another boat, the Mohawk Maiden, a smaller boat, and I think that one can do a bit like longer of an excursion, smaller party. So yeah, there's options for getting out on the water. You can also dine out on the water down at the yacht basin, so you could ride your bike there, take a quick drive, and get a bite to eat sitting right on the water there. Yeah, you're speaking a little bit to kind of one of the points of Camp Rockaway, which is you don't have to bring a lot of stuff. You go to camprockaway.com. Once you get there, we have 2 locations now: Fort Tilden down in Rockaway Beach and Schuylerville here in Saratoga County, right on the Hudson. They are set up the same way in terms of the accommodations and the amenities, but you want to read a little bit about each place because it'll give you an idea of what to expect, what you can do, all that kind of stuff. And then we've got a section on there that says "but first," and that's kind of like a frequently asked question. So if you've got a question about cooking, how do you cook at Camp Rockaway? You go to that spot and it tells you here's what to bring, here's what not to bring, here's how it works. it's a low barrier to entry kind of camping experience. So yes, you can plug in your phone. Yes, you can get on Wi-Fi. We have our own network, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people ask that, you know, especially down in New York, right? Like you're used to like getting delivery, you know, like right to your door is like a way of life down there, and that happens to be a way of life here too. Like we're less than a mile from a village. You know, if somewhere won't deliver, we'll hop on a bike and go get it for you. You know, it's like we can make it as easy as possible. You know, there's great cafes that'll be down here in, you know, under a half hour with like a, you know, a 3-course meal. So if you're not into cooking over the campfire, you know, we got you covered. Yes, everything is taken care of. The Camp Rockaway experience is, you know, definitely falls into that category of glamping. It's an unfortunate word, but like everyone knows it now. You know, it's still like a somewhat rustic experience. A lot of the associations with glamping is like, ooh, you can get a massage, or like, you know, they're gonna serve you breakfast in bed, or it's like, you know, some kind of deluxe tub situation or something like that. The little solar panel charges up a light, it charges up some fans. Your sleeping experience is comfortable, and like we have showers, and they're hot, but it's like you pull a rope, you know, and like get some water on you, get some soap on you, and get out of there. Like it's a fun outdoor shower experience. So I've been saying that you know, it's glamping that's more like camping. So it's easy on the one hand because you just kind of show up with a toothbrush, you know, a pair of sandals, a pair of shoes, and a sweatshirt. But everything else is pretty much here. You know, like we've got the water, we've got a bathroom, we've got a shower, we've got little solar lamps that you can use and borrow, and we've got a big list of things you can do, which is the best part. We think of it as like a base camp and like jumping off point for all this adventure. Like our idea here is to get you out into the river, out onto the towpath, out into, you know, a country drive through the farms, out to check out all the history that's right here. You know, the 2 tent types, our safari tent, which we call it's technically a wall tent, and so meaning that it has walls, about 5-foot walls, so you can stand up easily inside. It's 10 by 12, and it's got a queen bed, you know. So the beds are memory foam mattresses. You know, they're made up with sheets, extra blankets in there for cold nights, that kind of thing. Each one has a little solar panel that does a light and some fans, so it's still pretty basic, but you know, it's just what you need. And then immediately next door to it are little tents like these kind of teepee style tents. We call them pup tents because they're like kind of intended for kids, although I really like them, and I have some other staff members that prefer them. But there's a couple cots in there with sleeping bag liners, pillows, and so it's great for a family. It's also great for you know, a pod or a group of friends. So yeah, our common tent is where we'll have picnic tables, games to borrow. We'll serve coffee and tea in the morning, and we'll have a bulletin board in there that'll tell you like everything you can do in the area. So it's meant for, yeah, if it's raining, it's a great place to just like seek shelter and play cards and tell stories and, you know, get a bite to eat and that kind of thing. But it's also like an information center. So we'll do check-ins under the big tent. You know, it's easy, clipboard, how you doing, sign this. We'll tell you about, you know, things you can do in the area and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, there's a charging panel in there, so you need to charge a phone. It's a common thing. You just grab a plug, throw it in the box. It's a waterproof box. You can walk away, leave your phone for a little while, which is kind of nice. And to that end, you don't have to bring like all your recreational equipment necessarily. So we'll have bikes here that people can just borrow and head into the village. It's a gorgeous, like, 10-minute ride, maybe, you know, if you're really taking your time, to all the cafes, the brewery, art gallery, and just like a fun scene down in the village. And then there's kayaks for rent. Literally, you can probably throw like a stone to the kayak kiosk over there through Upstate Kayak Rentals. That's a super cool thing where you just go on their website, tell them you want to rent a boat here. It sends you a little pin, you unlock the kayak, it's got a life jacket and the paddle. The kayak launch is right there. You just put in, do your thing, put it back. So yeah, you really don't have to bring a lot of stuff to be able to do a lot of stuff, which is amazing. You know, there are opportunities if you have a car to get to the apple orchard. It's about 5 minutes up the road. Cider donuts, fresh cherries, apples, obviously, all that kind of stuff. Great little market. They do their own cider, so you can sip the cider up there in their like kind of tasting room. They do outdoor concerts. Hudson Crossing Park does a bunch of outdoor programming, concerts, stuff for kids. That's just an incredible resource. There's amazing food all around here. You know, some of it's just in the village here, but then a little further afield, you could just find incredible stuff to eat. Saratoga Springs with their park and the mineral water that you can taste and follow the trail and check out, as well as the Performing Arts Center is just incredible. I'm going to a show there end of August, I think. You know, super excited. So you're gonna see boats that are coming sometimes. I don't know about these days from Canada necessarily because of the border thing, but you'll get boats. We had a boat come through the other day. They had just bought a boat out in Buffalo, and they were making their way all the way back here to their home in I think Fort Edward. You know, just up the way here. And these are cruiser cabins. I'm not much of a boat guy myself, so I don't know the technical names for some of these, but they're liveaboard type boats, or they're just cruising boats, and people just enjoy the river. Some people connect, you know, from here to the Great Lakes, and can do this big loop, you know, lakes to locks and all that kind of thing. And then once you're on the water, or even if you're just next to the water, the fishing is incredible. I've never seen such diversity of fish in a river before. And there's always locals down here fishing and can tell you every last thing you want to know about the fish, which is incredible. And then, you know, I've seen ospreys, blue herons, I saw bald eagle last night. You just sit here for, you know, a couple of hours and you're gonna see wildlife. You know, it's incredible. Yeah, so what can you expect in the evenings when you're just kind of hanging out at Camp Rockaway back at home base? You can expect to have a campfire. You know, classic camping thing to do, obviously, is make some food over the campfire. So we have a big grill that just goes right on top of the campfire. It's communal, you know, so there's a moment there where if you got a few different people cooking, it's a lot of fun. Oh, what are you making? Oh yeah, you want to try this, you know, and that whole kind of thing. Then kids and adults, everybody likes s'mores, so you do that whole thing. And other than that, you just take a short walk over to the park there, or down the towpath. We have hammocks, so you just chill out in the hammocks. We'll have games, cards, you know, Jenga, that kind of stuff at the picnic tables. So you just borrow a game, play a game, you know, hang out with your family, hang out with your friends. Yeah, so there's always somebody here on site. The campground is staffed 24/7. And, you know, during the day we got a handful of staff hustling and bustling to change over the rooms and clean up and that kind of stuff. But there's always like a camp host, and that camp host is often like one of Camp Rockaway's like best features, because that's someone who welcomes you to the campground. If you're a little apprehensive about camping in the first place, they will make you feel comfortable immediately, answer any questions you might have. And they tend to have good stories and, you know, obviously are a wealth of information in terms of like what to do around here. And they're going to ask you about yourself too, you know, because Camp Rockaway is all about, you know, getting out there and meeting new people and having a good experience. You obviously don't have to do that stuff if you want it to be more of a, you know, true camp. If your version of camping is kind of being alone in nature and that kind of thing, it works for that too, you know. So, you know, how does Camp Rockaway fit in with and mesh with an existing community? you know, our first move was essentially to reach out to the Small Business Association and say, hey, we're thinking of bringing this business here. We want to be good neighbors. How can we make that happen? How can we encourage, how can we develop a list of things that people who come here who are also not from here, how do we develop a list of things for them to do? You know, how can we get Joe Camper down the bike path and eating at your restaurant, or shopping in your store, or just checking out your town and getting to know it, you know. And so that was our first move, and the community was super welcoming, and wanted to point us in the right direction in terms of like how to engage with the community and how to engage with the local businesses. And that's one of the best parts about this location, and about New York too, down in New York City, is you get the local flavor, you know. Like, so there's some amazing people. We just saw Dave, the retired judge, go by. He takes a swim every day back to his dock, and he'll hang out by the fire and chat with our guests, and he knows this place better than anybody. So, you know, they got a question about Schuylerville or this area, he's the man. Yeah, I think I mentioned like my secret mission is to turn everybody into an environmentalist, and that's true actually. You know, I feel like if you can get people connected to nature, they're gonna advocate for nature, and we're obviously at a point in our history where our impact on the natural world is, you know, way outsized, and we're starting to see the effects of that, and I think like a lot of us, I'm starting to worry a little bit, you know. So living simply and all that is great, and I think one way to, you know, start to, yeah, again, it's kind of a secret mission, but one way to start to get people to consider, you know, lowering their carbon footprint, or using a little less plastic, or doing a little less driving and getting on a bike, or any of that kind of stuff, I think is to put them in touch with, you know, the natural environment, the natural world. You know, you see wildlife and all that kind of stuff around here, and you're like, this is incredible, like, we got to protect this. How can we protect this? You know, and I think this experience kind of lends itself to thinking about that a little more, you know. And sure, it's not for everybody, you know. Like, I like pitching a tent and sleeping on the ground, just like a lot of people, but a lot of people don't, and they're never going to do it, you know. So, but they will do this, you know. We get a ton of people who are like, I would never go camping, like, you know, the way that they think of traditional camping, but I would do this. And so if this is as close as we're going to get somebody to sleeping outside, you know, and walking out of the tent at night and seeing stars, or seeing the moon rise over the river and all that kind of stuff, and then going home and saying, like, I had this, you know, really remarkable, maybe it's transformative, maybe it's not, but I had this great experience out in nature, and so the next time I, like, go to the polls, or, like, you know, am reading an article about global warming or something like that, I'm gonna think about it like a little bit more, and maybe change a few things, you know, change the way I'm doing some stuff, you know, to just, you know, have a little less of an impact, you know, use a little less water, you know, don't buy as much stuff, you know, like, go have an experience, you know. So we open Memorial Day weekend. We're staying right now, we're taking reservations through Labor Day, and we'll see how it goes. Like, if this really takes off, and we're getting reservations right up to Labor Day, we'll open up the calendar. We stayed open down in Rockaway through November, not all the way through November, but until about mid-November. So if the weather's good and the people want to come, we'll stay open.
Joe works with Kent here at Camp Rockaway, and you're a local, right?
Yeah.
From the area here.
Yeah, I live in Scotty Cook.
Yeah. So how's your experience here? You like this?
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah?
love it. Yeah, outside, just like, I love being outside, and I love being on my feet all day, so it's a perfect job.
And like working with the people and everything, and
Yeah, camping is just like my jam too.
how about Kent? Is he a taskmaster, or is he a good guy to work for?
Yeah,
Wait, I'm gonna bribe him with a donut right now.
All right,
I'll take a donut. I'll
See,
take a donut.
Kent brings donuts, and that's right. So he feeds the staff, and that's good.
Ken's a really good boss. I like
Yeah,
him.
he seems like he would be. All right, so we're here with Kent Johnson, and we're here with one of his staff members, Joe. And these guys are going to provide a great experience for you, along with some other people that work here. And what a great place! I'm glad that I got to come down here and see you guys and learn about this place. And I really hope that it goes well for you. I'm sure it will, because you know, when good people bring good things, you know, I mean, the vibes, that's just how it works, you know. So best of luck to you, man. And you know, we'll be back to visit over the summer. I'd like to stay here myself, and I can't wait to meet the other camp host there. I've heard a lot about him, and this is just a great thing, guys. So if you're looking for this kind of experience, you got to come and visit these guys, because they are certainly going to provide it. So guys, you could just give us a shout out here and say goodbye and do whatever you want to do to wrap it up, and we'll see you later, man.
See you later.
See you around the campfire.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good day, man, and a good summer.